Right. Where to start? Hello. Thank you for watching. Here's my instant hot takes. As you can see, the game has just finished in front of me at Twickenham. The players are in the French 22, shaking hands. Here comes the spoiler alert if you're trying to avoid the results. An absolute beatdown. It's nice to know that world-class rugby exists. It just doesn't exist in England at the moment. Oh man, I'm meant to be talking, aren't I, and saying things. That hurts. That really, really hurts. And can you see how empty the seats around Twickenham are right now? I've never seen it filter out so quickly. I just nipped to the loo about 5 minutes before the final match when France had scored their however many 17th try, and that was the most entertainment I had from an English point of view, was just the gallows humour of England fans laughing, because if you don't laugh you'll cry at this point. Yeah, alright, well let's get on to England in a minute, but let's just let me take a moment just to say France are playing rugby on another planet. The talk of the French demise was far too premature. They're back in a big way, aren't they? How many tries is that? I'm just counting it up. Was it 7? 7 tries? 7 tries for France? Yeah. Just TalkSport colleague next to me there. 7 tries for France. The gulf between the two teams was staggering today. And I kind of feel stupid at this point for honestly genuinely entertaining an England victory. I thought that we could squeeze it out. I thought it was unlikely, but I honestly thought that England could have won that. And just trying to process what I've just watched. I will do another video in a little bit when I've got another cup of tea and just let the thoughts settle down, and I'll give a more considered, longer form response to that performance. This is just pure emotion at this point, and that hurts. And I'm minded to I want to stay on the positives. Talk about France first. It was years ago. I was at Old Trafford and I watched the Champions League semi-final, Manchester United against Barcelona. And I was aware at the time that I was watching someone very, very special, watching Lionel Messi, and getting to watch Antoine Dupont at Twickenham. The guy is a freak. He is a freak, and I mean, of course you can see it on the TV, but when you just see, I just spent about 10 minutes of the game when the result was never in doubt, just watching Antoine Dupont, and he is an absolute freak of nature. And it just feels like a privilege to be living at a time when this guy is playing rugby, because he's operating on another level. One of my favourite rugby players on earth, Charles Olivon, he's back as well, isn't he? He hasn't quite been at his old usual best, but he was massive today. Him and Gregory Aldrit and Kroos as well in the back row. The French back row just took England to the cleaners. And, you know, we look at Jack Willis as this amazing Jacqueline threat. He was he had his pants pulled down. England's pack had their pants pulled down today. Ollie Lawrence suddenly looked very, very average. Marcus Smith, for all the talk up, looked very, very average. I'm already falling into the thing of going negative on England. Damien Penaud is a ridiculous specimen. Thibaut Flamand, bearing in mind he probably wouldn't have even been starting had Cameron Wokey been fit, and look at Flamand. Looks like the best lock in the world at the minute. Thomas Ramos, some people were questioning him. He looks incredible. This French team are very, very special. And they haven't been at their usual high standards, but you feel like with Jonathan Danty giving them a bit of focus and direction. Yeah, frightening team. And if they play like that on French soil, they're going to be very difficult to beat in the World Cup. I'm just looking at the body language of the England players. Let me just turn you around a little bit so you can see. They've just had a huddle. Understandably dejected. Thibaut Flamand's just been sent over to the boards to have a chat because Thomas Ramos' English isn't very good, and for the English broadcaster, I wondered, did the commentators mention that Thibaut Flamand was the 5th team fly half for Loughborough? usually have to drink your pint if they mention that. It gets mentioned all the time, yeah. France, as you can understand, jubilant. A lot of England players are away into the tunnel already. And I have to say, so I was here for England v South Africa in the autumn, Eddie Jones's last game, and there were boos. And at full time today, there were boos. And that will be a very, very sobering moment for Steve Borthwick. And the honeymoon is over now, isn't it? The honeymoon is done. There are going to be big questions to being asked, and England are going to have to answer. And they've got to go to Dublin to do it. England are quite conceivably going to finish 5th in the Six Nations tournament, which is where Eddie Jones finished. And you suddenly see the scale of the job that Steve Borthwick has. The only people left in the stand are French, and they're in full voice as they were all day. Right. Yeah. I could go into depth. I'm just incredibly frustrated. There was a lot of brain dead decisions being made by England. The lack of breakdown work, just being manhandled, men against boys, was the embarrassing bit. And when you're getting absolutely spanked, 65 minutes, and you're going, where do we go? What do we do? And then you see, all right, Mako and Dan Cole are coming on. We're all right now. Yeah, I'm going to go and get a brew. I'm going to let that sink in. Watch France enjoy their victory as they are. They're going bonkers down the way in the dead ball area. The fans are all pogoing around. Yeah, and I will be back. And I will. So I want the emphasis here to be that is a world-class rugby team. England were poor, make no mistake, but that was a world-class performance by a team that are very well placed to win the World Cup. And any thought that they are not the France team of old, they've just answered that in a big, big way. So let nothing take away from that. Gregory Aldrit, I loved him today. There was talk. I've been critical of him not being at his usual best. He was absolutely immense. But I am going to be back on the next video, getting stuck right into England, because there's a lot to talk about there. I'll let the final sound you hear on this video be Allez les Bleus, which they deserve. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you on the next video. Should be spicy.